My name is Madelaine Vallin, and I'm the founder of the Australian School of Holistic Counselling. Our mission is to help the next generation of heart-centered, driven people thrive as therapists, coaches, and counsellors. In this 5-part series, we allow students and graduates of our college to share their life journey of changing the world, one courageous step at a time. I hope that their stories inspire you to follow your dreams and remind you that there's always an opportunity to grow, no matter what life throws at you. If you're a heart-centered and driven individual with a calling to work and thrive as a therapist, coach, or counsellor, please visit our website at www.ashc.com.au. Enjoy the show. Welcome, Tara Hegerty. How are you?
Really well. How are you, Madelaine? Thanks for having me along.
Good. Oh, good. I'm so excited about this because obviously I know a bit about your journey, even though maybe our listeners don't know everything about your journey. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I am a mother. I have 2 young children, 2 and 4. I have a beautiful husband that we've been together for 17 years. 8 of those we've been married. I had a really, stable childhood growing up, to be honest. I went to uni and I started studying sports science. And I remember the first year that I started studying, I wasn't enjoying it too much and my grades were like just slipping a little bit. But then I had something really traumatic happen with our family. And can I share you the story about?
Absolutely.
About my brother? Yeah. So this will lead into, I feel, why I came to your school. Was that I remember getting a call from my dad, and it was New Year's night, and he said, Tara, your brother's been in an accident. I need you to get to the hospital and pick up your sister along the way, and he's in a critical condition. And I said, I remember just dropping to my knees and losing all sensation of my body. And I said, what do you mean he's in a critical condition? And he said, look, he's broken his knee and he's at the hospital in a critical condition. You need to come now. And it was New Year's, and I remembered I had a few drinks and I thought, oh my God, how the hell am I going to get to the hospital, let alone pick up my sister along the way, which was over an hour's drive. And thank goodness I was able to find a dear friend that wasn't drinking and was able to drive us to the hospital. And I remember walking into the hospital and walking in the corridor and seeing my brother's best friend coming straight for me. And he was in this white hospital gown and it was covered in blood. And he came up and he said, I'm so sorry, Tara. I'm so sorry. And I said, what do you mean? Like, is everything okay? And he said, well, your brother, he got hit by a car and he hit his head, and he said he died in the ambulance, but they were able to bring him back. He's in a critical condition and they're just checking his vitals at the moment, and they're literally going to cut him from the top of his chest down and just check everything's okay with his internal organs. And I remember trying to process that information that night, and everything was such a whirlwind, I guess. When we were talking to the doctors, they said, look, he has broken his C2 and his C3, and he has bruised his spinal cord, and he'll never walk again. And I remember having this image of, do you remember, Christopher Reeve, the Superman fellow, how he's in the wheelchair, he's got all the contraptions kind of around his neck. I had that image, and I remember looking over at my mum, and she was actually being physically sick in the waste paper bin. And it was such a traumatic experience for all of us going through that. And he spent the next 2 weeks in ICU, and he spent the next year in a spinal recovery ward. And this is where I learned about the power of mind-body medicine. He said to me, I want to walk out of this hospital. I don't want to be in a wheelchair. And he said he was quite educated with anatomy, and he knew about his neural pathways and everything. So he said, look, if I could tell my brain to move my big toe, all the messages were going to get through my spinal cord, my bruised spinal cord, and keep going all the way down to the bottom of my body. And that means the messages are getting through. And so every night before he'd go to bed, he'd say, move my big toe, move my big toe, move my big toe. And for that first year, our family was so close. We spent pretty much every single night together, helping feed him because he couldn't move his hands or anything like that, and doing physio. And I remember walking in one day after uni, and he said, Tara, guess what? Watch this. And he moved his big toe. And I went, oh my goodness, this is incredible. That means the messages are getting through. He's like, I know, I'm right. And I'm like, this is just a miracle. This is incredible. And from then on, I think he started to then say, you know, move my foot, move my leg. And the neural pathways were starting to, it did take him a year, mind you, but it started to connect. And it was such, seeing that in human form and seeing that connection, the mind-body connection, was an incredible experience. And my brother was able to walk out of there. He's a teacher now. He's one of the most positive, happy humans you've ever met. And that was, one thing I learnt from that life experience. The other one, while I'm talking about it, was while my brother was getting his vitals kind of all worked out, I remember my dad wasn't around. My mum said he was resting in a bed because he had a splitting headache, and I called BS on that because my dad never gets headaches, and how could you really rest at like such a traumatic period of time? And he wasn't until we went out for coffee and I said, Dad, what were you doing that night? Like, where were you? We needed your support. And he said, well, I was actually requested to lay next to your brother's bed. There's a curtain between the two of them, but he said I was meditating. And I said, what's meditating? And he said, look, it's, you know, obviously focusing on breath, and but he said I was also praying and sending all my energy over to my son. He said if my son could live, he said, you know, I wanted to pass all that over to him. And that's when I learned about power of meditation. And it was, I guess, with this one life experience that I had, I started to explore meditation. I traveled overseas. I immersed myself in meditation practice as well.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What an amazing story, but also life-changing story that you've been through, both you and your family, really. I mean, how long ago was this? When did this happen?
Yeah, it was almost, I was 22, so it was about 15, 16 years ago. So it was quite some time ago now. But that meant that my whole meditation practice has developed over the years, and my love for the body and understanding this body connection and my self-development journey has just gone, grown over the years.
Absolutely. Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that is a truly life-changing event for everybody involved. I mean, you included, because yes, of course, for your brother, that was traumatic in so many different ways, both body, mind, soul, spirit, everything. And even for you being on the side, watching all of this, it's life-changing for everybody that's involved in something like that. So but the beautiful thing is, it sounds like for all of you, there's been some blessing in that pain that happened through that time.
Yeah, you're right, because it didn't actually happen directly with me, being a bystander, but being able to feel that and understand, you know, how important it is to look after your body and the compassion that we have for our family now. And it's really been a huge journey for all of us. Going back to my education and uni, and I was really struggling with sports science. I ended up halfway through my brother's recovery, I ended up changing my degree to a Bachelor of Arts and minoring in psychology. And I spent the next decade working in events management. I was traveling overseas, and I really started to really focus on climbing that corporate ladder. But what I realized was that I was kind of jumping from job to job to job and really just feeling generally unhappy. And at that point, when I was feeling really unhappy, I was trying for a family as well. And I was struggling to conceive. And when I did fall pregnant, I had what they referred to as a miscarriage, which means at my 12-week scan, I was told that there was no heartbeat. So I had to go undergo some surgery to remove it, and it went terribly wrong. After the surgery, I was heavily scarred, and I was told that I was never actually going to have a baby. So I spent over 3 years going through IVF, acupuncture, detox programs, everything just to try and fall pregnant. And I just wasn't able to. I was kept failing every IVF round, again and again and again. And it wasn't until I started to really deepen my meditation practice and really focus on my inner wellness was I really able to start to heal my body and fall pregnant. And I remember calling upon that knowledge that I had from my brother's accident, and really focusing my meditation on healing my organs, I guess, was, I'm able to fall pregnant. So I soon became a mum, and I was able to fall pregnant naturally. I didn't have to go through IVF. And when I became a mum, I learnt about the power of intuition and really began to deepen my spiritual practice. And this is what led me to your school and to study counselling and to study meditation. And it all felt so right to me when I was going through it, because even though I had, a university degree and I was working a corporate job, it just didn't light me up. But when I started to work in this space, things started to expand and open up for me. And it's been such a happy journey ever since, really.
And then another message, in a way, from whatever you want to call it, your higher self or whatnot, to tune into yourself and to heal those parts of you so that your body is prepared and ready to birth a child.
Absolutely. And look, I had counselling through that stage too. I know how you need that external support too. Yes, you can have your support from your family and friends, but having that external support through those traumatic periods and those grief and loss is, is so essential. Mental health wise.
Yeah. So you've obviously experienced firsthand the importance of the work that you do now and supporting others, which is really important, which is something that I always say to students. It's really important that we experience it for ourselves, that we feel and experience those benefits, because otherwise it's very hard to I think it's to become a really good holistic counselor, we need to experience it ourselves and understand it on that deep level. So that's really fantastic. Do you still have support now? Do you still seek out support?
Yeah, I do. And I took a little bit of a break, but I'm so glad I'm back seeing someone. There's things that you just continually move through all the time. As I said, those feelings still come up. You think you've dealt with that grief and that loss, but when that date hits, you need that extra support that perhaps your husband or your mum or your friends might not necessarily understand too.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you say the books that you have written, because I know you've written a book, would you say that book has also helped you with that sort of process, that grieving process, that moving through those pains and becoming even more whole?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was definitely a therapeutic experience, putting everything down in words too, and then working through that book for over a year, and having other people read it and relate to it now is also therapeutic too. So most definitely.
Beautiful. So tell me a little bit about your book.
Yes. So I launched my book, Dawn Warrior, in March this year, and it's just a guidebook, I guess you could say, for new mums, to support them through their transition in motherhood. Because when you become a mum, your life literally gets thrown upside down. And look, there's a lot of research saying that 92% of couples report an increased conflict in their first year of a baby, and I think it was like 67% of couples' relationships suffer as well in that first year. And then on top of that, a lot of new mums feel like when they have children that they have to wait until they get older, or wait for their children to go to school, and only then will there be time to really focus on their hobbies and their passions and their career. And what my book is about is that you don't have to wait, and it really focuses on two key benefits, which is reclaim your energy and really nurture yourself now, and then the second part is to really plan your ideal life, one morning at a time. And it's a book filled with life planning tools, designed to help mums enjoy the journey of motherhood and really focus on their own awakening and development at the same time. So yeah, I get inundated with messages from mums all the time saying, I've read your book, and they're sharing their healing journeys with me, which is just incredible. I set out of putting it all down of what I experienced and learnt and researched into a little program. But once I did actually see it all, I thought, oh goodness, it's got so much more power to be a book. Like there's so much wisdom in here that, mums can just pick up at any point. So I'm currently coaching a couple women now. I'm guest speaking. I'm talking at local mums groups, and I'm finishing up recording and editing my online program too.
Beautiful. That's amazing. And that's all happened quite recently, because I know, when did you finish the course with us? Was that a year ago now, roughly?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
I had kind of the idea that I would just put a little mini program or something together, and then I started writing, and it turned into this book. And at that stage, I knew I wanted to help more people, and that's when I started to that's what made me enroll into your school and study with you. So it was, the seed was there, and then it was just amplified when I started studying with you. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. It's a wonderful book, and I can definitely see it as the basis of your workshops. There's a great message in it. There's a lot of tools, there's a lot of techniques, and I can see the benefit of combining your book with that one-on-one, either coaching or workshop or intensive or whatever it is, but some form of connection with you to sort of really embrace the content in your book.
Yes.
Yeah. Wonderful. Yeah. So what are you creating now from this? What's your vision?
Yeah, so just last week we decided to head back to the Sunshine Coast. So we're moving in a few weeks' time. So it is my plan now to run a few masterclasses, and then launch my online program in February in next year. and then start a community for mums up the coast as well. And this will include mothers circles and meditations, a new mums program, as well as working with local businesses to really look at how we can better support mums and their families as well. And I'm also looking to continue my studies to better support women in their healing journey too. So
I love the fact that you are now even looking at different ways to support people, because I think that's a key, working, because you've got a fairly clear niche of who you want to support and what you're wanting to do. So your vision is very, very clear. But then having different tiers of how people can connect with you, how they can work with you, starting from purchasing the book, which is, I'm guessing, how much is your book?
$30.
Yeah, 30, right? So it's $30, which is, everyone's got $30 to spend on a book. And then you got another level where if they want to go to a workshop, they can go and invest a little bit more time and more investment of money as well in that. And then you have these different tiers where and up at the top, I would guess there's your one-on-one coaching and all that sort of stuff, which is really, really good. So I'm just saying that out loud for everyone to just see that it's really important that we have all these different tiers of support, because that's great, because you'll be able to reach so many people, depending on obviously their income, what they're able to invest, and if people don't have a lot of money to invest, they can still purchase that book, they can still join, they can still be part of the community, right? Which is really, really beautiful. So it's fantastic what you've created so far. It's really cool. Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you so much, because there was a time there that I was really unsure of what my purpose was and where I really wanted to go. And when I just really started to follow, especially my meditation, it was like almost following the breadcrumbs, the things that I really started to enjoy, really enjoyed, which was meditation and helping other people. That's what led me to where I am today. And if I didn't listen to my intuition and follow those breadcrumbs, I'd probably still be jumping from job to job still.
Yeah. And isn't that the thing? I mean, very often it's, we do that, don't we? We take that easy route, or we're a bit scared to make those decisions and trust those breadcrumbs along the way. And we kind of just go on that path that we're so used to taking because of fear of what might happen if we don't do that. And if we, don't do the normal stuff, but this is proof that listening to your intuition, listening to your calling inside of you, really pays off. I mean, what would you do? I mean, could you even imagine yourself doing something else at the moment? Like what?
Not at the moment, no. Because I had a visual, and it was actually when I was doing my, I call it my Zen 10. So it's my 10 minutes meditation in the shower. And after I was doing my Zen meditation, I remember having this really profound visual, and it was literally a group of women walking up this mountain and the sun rising. And then that's where I got the name from, which was Dawn Warrior. And it was literally like me kind of pulling these women up this mountain. And that was like, I remember getting that visual and I was like, holy, I've got to put this down on paper. And then I started writing everything down. I said, well, this is my purpose. This is what I need to be doing right now. It may change and develop, I'm sure, over the years, but at the moment I know in my heart this is where I need to be, and this is where I've been following those little breadcrumbs and those visuals and the intuition and everything. So yeah.
Beautiful. That's really fantastic. So where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, on my website, dawnwarrior.com. Really simple, really easy.
Beautiful.
There's a free meditation morning practice guide in there if you're interested, about really kind of developing your morning practice. Hop on there.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Thank you so much.